Please find your seats. همه چی اوکی؟
من آمادم. اگر اسم رو صدا کردیم میام بالا یه 5 دقیقه میام. اگرم رفت که
Please have a seat. We'll start in 2 minutes. 1 minute, sorry. سلام. Oh, yes. به این خدمات هر کیم نشسته باید جناب آقای امیدی بفرمایید بشین شروع. Okay. Rashad, please stop the music. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Persian Tech Network event in February. My name is Ahmad Reza Masroor, part of Persian Tech Network. We are so glad to have every one of you here at Plug and Play. And tonight we will have a startup presentation, both virtually and physically, to present the ideas. And then we will have a fireside chat with Mr. Mustafa Rounaqi, a famous and successful entrepreneur, investor, and scientist from our community in the Bay Area and globally. And eventually, we will open the floor for networking to get to know with each other. As we are broadcasting our event on YouTube, Telegram, and LinkedIn, kindly spread the word with your friends, Iranian and Persian, to join us, to build this community, to support each other, and do something for the Persian community in the Bay Area and across the globe. And please feel free if you have any question about the Persian Tech Network, startup pitches, speakers, to contact us. Me and Mom are partner in crime, and follow us on LinkedIn, and scan this QR code to get to know more about the Persian Tech Network event, past event and future events. And in the meantime, please help yourself and get to know with each other. And if you have any question about the Plug and Play and its services for startups, please go to that desk and ask your questions. Before we get started, I'd like to ask Wade to come up and tell us about plug and play and services for a startup, and a few words about the plug and play tech centers. Please join me in welcoming Wade.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Wade Bitaraf. I've been with Plug and Play for about 8 years. I wanted to give a brief introduction of what we do at Plug and Play and make sure that everyone who's been here leave with a great understanding of what we do. Our stories dates back to the late 90s when Saeed, Amidi, and Rahim here in Palo Alto, next to University of Stanford, they had a smaller office space. The tenants of the building happened to be the founders of Google, PayPal, Logitech, Danger, and at the time, those companies were really small, and we were able to invest in those companies. And those investments turned out to be wildly successful, and that was the inception of Plug and Play investment business. Fast forward to 2006, when we moved to this building, the idea was to replicate that model, but we layered on top of that so many other things that we help founders to grow their business and go to market faster. So we do 3 things at the core at Plug and Play. First and foremost, we invest in early stage companies out of the family office, deploying about $20 to $30 million a year into 200 startups. In seed and pre-seed stage, we became one of the most active early stage investors. Secondarily, we run accelerator programs twice a year in 20 different industry verticals and 50 locations around the world. We run accelerated programs that are completely free and no equity required to the startups. And that enables us to work both with early stage companies as well as mature that are looking to access capital and corporate connections. And lastly, our corporate innovation practice, which evolved back in 2012, when we started to bring some of the largest demand owners, corporations across 20 different industries that were seeking technology needs, and they would come to Plug and Play and ask us what companies are out there that can address their business challenges. So we built this corporate innovation consulting practice. It's a membership organization, and we now have more than 550 large corporations from the biggest banks, insurance companies, travel and hospitality, food, agriculture, materials, and so on and so forth. Here's our Silicon Valley headquarters. This is where we run all of our practices. But as you can see here, we're almost in everywhere in the world that startups are trying to build their businesses, grow, add economical development to the regions, create jobs, but most importantly, raise capital and grow their business. Today, we're about 700 people in the team, 250 of which are here in our Silicon Valley, but the rest are distributed globally. About 150 of our team members are focused on startup sourcing and due diligence. So if there's anyone in the group here today that is building their company, raising capital, please reach out to us. We have a team here today. We have a very strong community. Our business is built around community. So if you want to get engaged, if you want to participate in our programs, if you want to act as a mentor or investor, please come reach out to us. My colleague Rick in the back over there can tell you a little bit more about Plug and Play's ecosystem and how you can participate here on Silicon Valley headquarters. As mentioned, Plug and Play, based on the number of the investments that we've done, has been named as the most active global investor for almost 5 consecutive years. These are seed and pre-seed stage investments. We also have over $150 million under management to invest in later stage companies that are doing really well in our portfolio. So here are some of the notable companies. I've been with the firm for about 8 years. My focus is on energy and sustainability, but we have a lot of other focus areas. These companies that are highlighted here, in a way or shape, tackle climate change and address our global gas emissions. So for anybody who's interested in this topic, you can come talk to me afterwards. But around all of those 20 areas that we work in, you can also come to me and I'll punt you down the right colleagues. The way that we accept startups, there are 2 different mechanisms. One is either we invest in the companies ourselves, so we have our own cookie cutter angel type selection mechanism, or we have a collective selection process that we run the ideas of startups by our corporate sponsors, and if they get collectively selected through a mechanism, they get accepted into our programs, and based on their outcome of conversations, we see which companies rise to the surface organically, and we invest in those, a few of them, in every location and in every vertical. As mentioned earlier, we also run 3 months accelerator programs as well. During the program, we provide a lot of services to these companies, anything from legal, accounting, marketing. At the core, it's connecting them with their potential enterprise customers and investors. And this is what we do during the course of the 3 months. And at the end of the 3 months, we throw a large industry demo day. We call them summits. In the summits, we have about 250 companies that come on this stage, pitch their idea. It's like a Shark Tank on steroid. A lot of those corporate and demand owners are here in the room, and they're meeting with them privately in a conference room. I'm going to wrap it up real quick. This is where I spend about 80% of my time. This is where we work with a lot of large corporations. All the industry verticals that you see here are groupings of large corporations that are sectored off. They focus on their own industry value chain, and they come to Plug and Play, and we try to matchmake them with startups that can address all of their criteria. We have recently launched new industry verticals. So again, depending on which industry you're in and which industry you have interest, you can come talk to us, and we'll connect you with the right colleagues. And obviously today we have a strong focus on the healthcare industry. A quick snapshot of some of those sponsors. You probably have seen a lot of other sponsors on the walls, but these are some of the folks that focus on the built environment, the manufacturing, industrials, energy sector, and transportation. Some of the biggest brands in the world. So for the interest of time, I'll skip how the selection process, the deal flow works, but these are private events that we hold. We had about 800 of these last year where corporations came to us and asked for technologies, and we set up these private meetings, and we realized which ones are interesting. With that, I'd like to pass it over to Ahmed Reza. If you have any questions, please come find me or Rick or the rest of our group here. We're excited to see you.
Thank you, Wade, for your brief introduction. So without any further ado, I'd like to invite the first startup, which is Rebelis AI. Ramin, co-founder and CEO of Rebelis, present from Germany over Zoom. Ramin Jan, salam, please go ahead.
Hello. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. So hello, everyone. I'm Ramin Soleimani, founder and managing director of Negative 5 Ventures. So Negative 5 is a venture studio based in Netherlands, building and investing on game tech ventures. Today, I'm representing Rebelis AI as one of our spin-offs. So we are revolutionizing the game industry with our generative AI. So it is designed to aid game designers in creating editable creative motions and movements for game characters. So the challenges that indie game studios are facing at the moment are huge amount of time and resources that they spend on character motion recreation. So obviously 20% of a game is its animations. So it takes 60 hours to create a 1-minute animation, and it costs almost 7,000. So existing generative AIs produce on editable motions, making them unsuitable for game development. This results in high cost and time-intensive process. So Rebelis AI solves this problem by offering an innovative learning-based generative AI that focuses on editable shapes, objects, and characters, handling animation design process really effectively. So our product simplifies the animation creation process. So it's really simple. Users write their prompts, choose from recommended rigs, and download their editable characters that is compatible with various design environments like Blender or 3D Max. So Rebelis AI hugely reduces the cost, as I mentioned, or unique advantages include scalable solutions through our SaaS model, personalized AI training dataset based on studio needs, and a user-friendly plug-and-play interface. So our business model is threefold. We charge users for downloaded objects and offering premium membership for prompt engineering. Additionally, we partner with game studios for customized machine learning solutions, getting a fraction of their total sales. So for looking at the 2023 New Zoo Global Game Market Report, our target market includes a significant portion of the somehow multi-billion-dollar gaming industry, especially focusing on downloaded or boxed PC games. So as you can see, it is more than nearly 200 billion that is raising yearly. So as you can see, the number of games released on the and the gross revenue only on Steam platform is increasing through years. So we launched our MVP in 2023. We are focusing on business development as well as product improvement in 2024 and work on our user growth on 2025. So our ideal customers are indie game studios with limited design resources, mostly game IPs with 3D characters. So we are working on some strategic partnerships with game publishers to give AI as a service. Our future vision is to extend editable generative AI to character and environment design. And our final destination is to design the whole animation just by writing down the story. So our competitors include traditional solutions like motion captures and other generative AI platforms. However, as you can see, and maybe you have experienced, most of the generative AIs are not editable, so the outputs are not usable, and so our outputs and customizability status of work. So our founding team combines startup experience with a strong background in science and gaming industry, and we have a very good and focused advisory team bringing additional expertise in industry insights. Just for the numbers, so we have already gained tractions with over 10 indie game studios using our product and secured 2 contracts for 5% of the total sales of the game. We also won 180K Google Cloud grant in Google AI Scale-Up program. Okay, so our exit strategy includes somehow potential M&A and major major game publishers and studios. So we are seeking somehow 600K in funding, and this will be allocated to product development, marketing, and operational expenses that will help us grow and for the future innovation. So this is the segmentation, and I think I should wrap it up. So as the I think our milestone would be focusing on the premium version and product development. So thank you so much. I think I do not have that much time. So just with Revelix AI, we're not just creating a product. So we are shaping the future of game design, and we welcome any question, partnership in the future and opportunities that you may have. So I'm as you said, for future some questions.
Thank you, Raminjan. It seems you presented from your phone, so we couldn't see your slides very well. Is there any question? No. Thank you, Raminjan. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
Thank you. So, the last startup, but not least, is Octopied. Amir Hossein, CEO, CTO, and co-founder. Please come to the stage and let us know about your startup. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Octopied. We are the first crowdsourced, expert-led hiring marketplace platform. We are revolutionizing the hiring process through referral hiring combined with expert evaluations, multi-layers of expert evaluations, and also AI enhancement. We have been operating for the past 3 years, showing that showing an increase in retention by about 70% and lowering the effective cost by about 40% for customers. You may ask how we are disrupting this business. So think about the recruiting market. The recruiting market is supposed to serve two parties, the companies, at the same time, the talents. But the existing recruiting market industry is basically creating an intermediary connecting the two types, the two parties together. Through revolutionizing methodology, we have tried to eliminate that intermediary and create a direct connection between the companies and the talents. So we give access to a large pool of quality candidates to companies. And with this methodology, what happens is that we have the opportunity to use that talent network to do multi-layers of evaluations of the candidates. At the same time, we could be picky with the soft skills that the candidates offer. At the same time, we offer cost advantages through increased retention and crowdsourcing benefits we get. And this process that we offer is a democratized and transparent process which promotes fairness and unbiased selection. So the good thing about this is that we are, in this process, aligning the interests of everybody that is involved in this process of hiring, from the companies to experts to the talents. So let me take a step back and talk about the problem. We have a brilliant HR strategy advisor who has put the problem in recruiting in one sentence elegantly. Companies often hire for harder skills, but they fire for softer skills. Let that sink in, and now think about the problems you have faced in being hired or hiring somebody. So I bet all of you have been in a position of job seeking, sending resumes, submitting applications to nowhere. And you don't know whether the hiring manager has seen your application or not, whether they have looked at it and couldn't capture what you're good at. And then from that perspective, the smart candidates would actually reach out to somebody within the company they're applying to get their resume in front of the hiring manager. On the flip side, if you're a hiring manager and trying to hire somebody, what happens is that you go through resumes and trying to figure out which claim on the resumes are fake, which one is exaggerated, and eventually you learn the hard way that an excellent or good-looking resume does not mean a good-looking candidate. If you're a smart hiring manager, you would reach out to your network trying to ask for referral. You'll call your professor or your coworker from the past and ask them for referral. So the solution that we offer is basically addressing these core issues with the hiring. So what happens is we are generating a crowd of experts who would be able to nominate candidates, evaluate candidates, and make referrals throughout the process. And at the same time, we have an AI background that is going to check for soft skills and be able to present the companies with a comprehensive look of the candidate's capabilities altogether. So the solution is in a fully functional octopi.com website that is capable of going through all of the process from nominations to evaluations and referrals. The good thing about this product that we have implemented, this revolutionary product, is that we have aligned the interests of everybody in this process. Let me walk you through how it works. It's very simple. When a job is posted on our platform, experts or subject matter experts in the very field of the job description are going to be notified. They're going to look into their network, nominate people for the position. We're going to line them up, and everybody in the expert network is going to evaluate these candidates. And or AI technology or proprietary AI technology is going to rank these candidates based on multidimensional scales, which include soft skills. And when a candidate is hired, everybody who has participated in this process is going to be rewarded, either for referral or evaluation. This is a true win-win-win strategy. Our business clients are going to get higher quality candidates that have been vetted in multi-layers. That culture fit that we provide is going to increase retention. At the same time, the candidates on the other side are going to succeed in a position that has been precision matched between them and the company. And at the same time, they get career coaching throughout the process and through a process that is fair and transparent. At the same time, the experts are going to earn monetary bonuses. At the same time, they get gratification and satisfaction of helping people in their network. So this is a game-changing approach which has many added values to everybody involved. We have a streamlined crowdsourced hiring process. We have a comprehensive multi-layered expert evaluation. We match softer skills. We don't bombard the hiring managers with peer review, with thousands of resumes. We just give them a few resumes. We have increased retention rates, reduced effective costs in a democratized and transparent process. So if I wanted to summarize Octopi in one slide, it would be this. Recruiters give you resumes, Octopi gives you candidates. We have had good traction in the past 3 years. We have worked with certain companies that we know. We've been part of Accelerator program. We have made $500,000 in revenue, and we've had incredible retention and customers coming back to us for hiring.
I'm in 1 minute.
Sure. So this is our team. Bashid is the brain behind this. She's a UCLA MBA and a PhD. I'm a silver medalist in International Physics Olympiad, at the same time a scale-up expert. We have Alireza Mehrzad, who is advisory board of Google and Meta, and we have Hanif Mahboubi, which is the brain behind all of the AI that goes into our platform. We have excellent advisors. Aaron Schaefer, I mentioned earlier. Kate, you may know. We have others in this process as well who has been helping us trying to bulletproof our process.
Thank you. Amir John.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Any question? Just one question.
Thank you for your presentation. My name is Kiana, and my question may be trivial, actually, but I was just wondering, how do you measure the soft skills? How's that characterized?
Okay. So what I can talk about is very limited, but throughout the process of what we call job boarding, we ask the hiring managers what they need in their position, in the position that they want to fill. At the same time, we ask the candidates certain questions, and we also ask our experts how they behave in their out of work places. And at the same time, we are planning to implement a social media grab of data, publicly available data, for that process of soft skills evaluations as well. That is a part that we are going to implement later. But we have some proprietary type of technology behind the scene that would allow us to match soft skills. Any other questions?
Any other question? No? Yes, over there.
Actually going to.
Thank you for presentation. I have a question. How about if the hiring manager is not willing to share any information about the job with you, or they're just willing to directly hire from their own process? They also have like AI system. They can send resume through AI and look at all this information that you can do, and they can hire directly.
So you're asking if the hiring managers would directly hire somebody from elsewhere in another process?
No, I mean, you said because you have a software that can evaluate the soft skill. It's very easy. It's very hard to evaluate someone's hard skill through like resume. You need to directly sit with them, talk to them, and ask some questions with them to like evaluate someone's soft skill.
Very good question. This is something that we have been discussing internally to get to that point where we can utilize a lot of information that is publicly available or from the clues that are given by the hiring managers, experts, and candidates to decipher the soft skills. For example, I'll give you an example. If you look at a resume that is written by somebody, you would be able to figure out how much attention has gone into details of that resume. Would you agree? Right. So this is the type of information that we can utilize to get information about attention to details, for example. So I'll leave that as that. But we have other methodologies as well.
Thank you, Amirjan. Thank you, everybody. And now I'd like to invite Saeed and Mustafa to come up and start the fireside chat. And you want to? Okay. You have? I get two. Okay.
Good evening. Pasha? Hello. Good evening. My name is Saeed Nesbat, and I have the honor of running the fireside chat section tonight. Before I bring our guest tonight, I would like to echo what Wade said and what Ahmad Reza said. You are part of a community coming here to join the rest of the people who think about creating a company, changing the world, and they're passionate about it. You need to expose yourself by talking to strangers here tonight during a networking. So that's how we would cross-pollinate the community that we're building over here. And that's how you would get to learn about other people's talent that who can help you fulfill your dreams. Usually I would like to run a quick poll to figure out who is here tonight. All the data scientists and machine learning people, please stand up. No data scientists here tonight? Okay, at least we have two. Okay. How about all biotech people? Stand up. We have a few more. Come on, don't be shy. Stay up, stay up. I would like you to look at each other, and if you don't know someone and they are in biotech, you can go and get to know them. All Sharif graduates, stand up. And I am part of it. Well, I didn't graduate there, but I went there. Okay. All non-engineers who are here tonight to learn about Wonderful world of biotech. Please stand up. Okay, now this is the last trick question. All those people who did not stand up for the first 5 categories, now stand up. And you can define yourselves when you meet someone. But my encouragement is, please sit down. My encouragement is that you are here in order to further your dream. Please talk to Vey, talk to Ahmad Reza, talk to other people from Plug and Play and tell them about your ideas, your company, whatever stage it is they can help you with. Now we are reaching the good part as far as I am concerned of tonight. I am honored and very excited that we have a very dear guest, a dear friend, who is a visionary, a scientist, and an entrepreneur who has had a track record of over 25 years of creating companies and helping other people create companies. Please help me welcome Dr. Mustafa Ronaghi.
Thank you, Sajan.
Mustafa Jan, thank you. Indeed, it's an honor and a pleasure. And I would like to plot our conversation tonight. I would like to take us to at least 3 areas. One of them is going to be your entrepreneurship path and the companies that you started and you succeeded. The other one is the trends in science of genomics. I'm sure many people here would like to benefit from your knowledge. And first and foremost, I would like to get to know you, or audience get to know you personally more and learn about your personal journey. You were born in Iran.
That's correct.
When did you leave Iran, and what age did you leave Iran?
I left Iran back in 1987.
Well, and how old were you?
I was about 20 years old.
20 years old. So did you finish, you finished high school in Iran?
Yes, I did.
And
Actually,
then you went
19
to
years old,
Sweden.
yes.
And you got your PhD there in the Royal Institute of Technology.
That's correct.
And that's where you did your famous work of pyrosequencing, right?
Yes.
Tell us, what is pyrosequencing?
Pyrosequencing is a sequencing technology, and actually that was the first next generation sequencing technology that was developed, and that laid the foundation of quite many technologies which are based on sequencing by synthesis, which means that you have a strand of DNA, you add the building block of the DNA, and each time you synthesize that building block, so you get a signal.
Okay, so this is about sequencing, and at that time when you did it, circa about 2000, right? 2003, 2000?
96, actually.
96.
I was in my...
So this preceded, I stand corrected. So the Genome Project, when they sequenced the human genome, they finished in 2003. So yours provided, Genome Project took 10 years, $2 billion, you know, a lot of scientists worked on that. But I remember your pyrosequencing technique could do this a lot faster at that time, right?
Yes, so the genome, the first human genome took about 3 billion, more than 10 years, $3 billion to sequence it.
Yes.
And it involved actually tens of scientists around the globe to do it. And so that version of genome has been completed several times. So still not 100% completed. And so what we tried to do was to leverage the advances in semiconductor technologies. The previous technology that was used for human genome sequencing that could not be implemented on semiconductor. So we created this new chemistry that could be grafted on the semiconductor, and we could sequence in parallel. That means that...
That came later on, though. This is when you made, made
you know,
it
you
into
have
massive parallel technology, which became the foundation.
So initially, when developed this chemistry, I was frustrated by the back then current technology that was very laborious and very difficult to perform. So I wanted to have a simpler chemistry, and as we started,
This is here, or
no, it's actually in
this is back
Sweden.
in Sweden. Yeah, This is
I
the
was in
foundations
my-
of virus sequencing.
Yes, in my graduate school, I had started my graduate school, and I pivoted my graduate school toward this technology.
Uh-huh.
And so initially we wanted to have a simpler chemistry, but as we developed the chemistry, so we realized that actually you can do parallel processing and leverage the semiconductor technology. And so initially, of course, the pixel sizes, they were large, but we started actually reducing the pixel sizes for grafting the DNA on each pixel. So fast forward, so the first human genome took about $3 billion an expenditure, and then the technology became more streamlined, so it became about $200 million to sequence a human
And
genome.
it's going
that's
down
about
all the way.
2003, 2004. And since then, so we leveraged this technology, and a lot of other people actually developed versions of this technology, which is one of them is Illumina's technology.
Luminous. Well,
with-
we get to that. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Let me slow you down a little bit, because some people may not know all the implications. I mean, we have talked about pyrosequencing in the back days. You know, I'm quite familiar with it. But you came here with that technology which could expedite this very, very important task that the world was after, sequencing genome, right? And you came here and you wanted to improve on that one. First, you joined Stanford. I remember you were part of Stanford. What did you do at Stanford?
So
not the
I would
technical
go back.
details yet,
I
yes.
go back in '97. I gave a talk actually in Miami
Uh-huh.
in the international conference about genome sequencing,
Uh-huh.
and so the whole community of people around the world would get together to discuss the recent advances about.
This was 96, you said?
97.
97. So
That
this
was
is
the first
before the
time-
genome project finished.
That was the first time I gave that talk, and a guy came forward to me and introduced himself, and so I'm Francis Colling, I'm head of NHGRI, and so it was NHGRI, and I didn't know.
Francis
Yes.
Collins himself.
And he asked, I love what you're presenting. We are having an RFA, and so it was RFA, so so request for applications for a grant. I want that you would apply for this grant. I told, I live actually in Sweden, so don't worry, apply for this, and we are going to figure out later. And
So they
so
came
he
to you to
encouraged
give you
me-
the grant. Yeah.
So he encouraged me to actually apply the grant with a U.S. entity, so that would increase my chances. And I had always interest actually to move to U.S. And so I actually found a company, a very small company called Illumina, and they had just started.
This
and
was
I read
after
about
Stanford?
them. No, before Stanford.
Before Stanford. Illumina started before that.
Yes.
Okay.
And I read about them actually in a photonic magazine about their fiber optic plate that they had. And I was fascinated by that. And I approached them and I talked about, that you can do actually sequencing on this. So we applied for a grant with NIH, and our grant got funded. And so that gave me actually quite a bit of money to start my lab. And I was going around the US actually evaluating where would be a good place for me to land. And I decided actually to join Stanford to start my lab to
So I'm a little
develop
bit
the
confused.
sequence.
What was the relationship between Illumina and Stanford?
So Illumina was my co-applicant for the grant.
Oh, I see. Okay. And then you at Stanford, you didn't last long, like 2 or 3 years.
No, I was there 9 years.
9 years,
I'm
okay.
actually quite immobile person.
Oh, I see. And then you went and joined Illumina.
Yes, I was approached by the CEO of Illumina, and he asked me if I can join the company as their CTO, and I told Jay, I'm conflicted, and he asked me, what's your conflict? I said, I started a company last week in the area that actually is going to compete with you.
What company was that?
It was Avantum.
Okay.
And
So by that time, you had spun off Illumina. It was your company?
no, it was not. Illumina was already a company. There were 3 people. They were just my co-applicant on the grant. So
I see.
Stanford, I had a joint collaboration with Illumina, which we discontinued back in 2003. And
So you were free from Illumina first, and then you rejoined
I never
it.
joined Illumina. I was just collaborating with them. Okay. So I was at Stanford.
Okay.
I was collaborating with a company, startup company, Illumina. And then we discontinued that project. And I continued that project, which became Avantum.
Okay.
And so I told Jay about the technology. And so he basically gave me an offer to continue the work at Illumina and be their CTO, and he would acquire the company. So that was probably the fastest acquisition I've experienced. You know, after 1 week of starting the company, we engaged into basically.
So this was Illumina
due
redo.
diligence.
You did it the second time. This was the second time you joined it.
Yes.
Now, by this time, Illumina was a huge company.
Yes.
And you going from a startup Illumina to a big Illumina must have been some changes, some shocks that you had. How was the difference? What was the difference between?
It's actually much easier to be an entrepreneur and join a larger company. It's very difficult to be at a large company, executive at a large company, and become an entrepreneur, actually. So that's much more challenging.
So you prefer to do it from small company to the big company, and the shock
I
of
think
it
there is higher success rate, in my opinion, to go from small company to larger company, because it's like going to a candy store.
How so? How so? Explain.
You have all the resources,
I see,
and
I see.
Of course you have to navigate the political, labyrinth that you have inside the company, but and probably learn some sort of management. But those are more, acquirable than, acquiring a vision and not having resources and to do the work like you do in startup.
Mustafa Jan, you have this fantastic reputation that you are so eager to help other people succeed and build their companies. You've done it many times. Some of the names that I know is Narges Baniasadi with Bina, Sasan Amini with Clear Labs, and Amir Ali Talasaz with Guardant Health. You're on the board of a couple of these companies.
Yes.
Bina was sold to Roche. Are there other companies, and why do you do this? What motivates you in helping? And I'm giving a hint with people who have some ideas in biotech companies that he is the man to see if you want to grow. Why do you do that? I mean, I admire you for doing that.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to help the people inside our community. I have a joy, honestly, in helping those people. And I appreciate everyone who is actually helping the community. I think these two brothers are the prominent, helpers in this community. What you have done, to bring all the people together, and
let the record show that he is pointing to Saeed Amidi and Rahim Amidi, who are sitting over here.
So I'm very, very thankful. They have been helping me as well. So it would be a pleasure for me to help. But of course, you have limited amount of time. So you have to see, whether the current commitment you have, whether you can deliver on those commitments.
You don't want to overload yourself.
So at this stage, I'm actually unwinding that.
Oh, you are? Fat chance you will do that. Is there a story behind any of these three companies, or maybe a fourth company, that what happened? How did you get involved?
Narges was a student at Stanford when I was at Stanford, so we had very good interaction, and she asked me if I could be a co-founder of her company. I told I'm probably, I wouldn't be a good choice because I'm at Illumina. Yes, I'm at Illumina, so but I would be able to help you probably better not being your co-founder, and I can tell you, what I think you should do. So, and that's how I got involved. Sasan, of course, I know him from Iran. So he was at Tehran University when he was a student, actually before getting to university. So he had just he was the gold medal of biology Olympiad. And so he could get into any university to study anything. So I actually started helping Sasan before getting to the university. I had a collaborator, Dr. Elahi at Tehran University, and she asked me if I can help Sasan. And so it has been a true pleasure, of course, to help him. So I wanted to bring him to Stanford, but the political system of Stanford didn't let that. But I asked my friend at Princeton, can you accept this guy? He was in the admission committee, and Saeed Tabazoi actually.
Which one of these three companies are genomic related?
I think Bina was in the field of genomics,
Yes.
of course, genome assembly. So Clear Labs has been in the pathogen sequencing and surveillance, is actually the prominent machine to sequence all the COVID variant across all the public health lab. 80% of the public health lab in US, they use that technology. What was the third one? Amir Ali, I actually helped him to move to US because I had funding, and so I was his co-advisor at Stanford. I helped him to start the first company which I acquired within weeks, Artifacts, at Illumina. So he joined Illumina as a director position, which was quite major coming out of
right
university.
At the beginning, yes.
And I helped him to start Guardant. So the Guardant technology was the foundation of that technology.
That's the name of a company, Guardant. Yeah.
Foundation of that technology
What
was
is your
developed.
company right now? Selunum?
Selunum is a tools company. We have been stealth, so we haven't talked a lot about the company, but we
I noticed there isn't much on our website.
No,
but we
have
ways.
raised Series A and Series B, and so we are developing a machine that combines actually computer vision, 3D printing, as well as core sequencing device to create very good environment for cell to be studied.
For cells to be studied. And the
Yeah.
goal is? Something you can tell us. I know it's
No, the goal is of course,
multivariable knowledge about
So when you
cells.
look at, majority or probably all of the medical breakthroughs, actually they are as a result of technological breakthroughs.
Yeah.
So in the field of cell therapy, so we have major shortcomings, and the reason is that and cell therapy has become very popular for cancer treatment, and that's a phenomenal field. And
Explain
so
to me, what is cell therapy? I mean, for some people,
So-
I don't know what cell therapy is.
Cell therapy is basically to take a cell and treat a patient. It's not a new field. It's actually more than 50 years old field. The first cell therapy approach was IVF, in vitro fertilization.
Yes.
So you could actually modify the cell or
Right.
through
Change
the
it so-
fertilization and implant it, and help females that they could not get pregnant.
Right.
So that was the first kind of approach of cell therapy, but the cell therapy that is actually very common these days. It started more than 10 years ago, 12,
Because
13
of
years
the
ago.
genome, because of the sequencing.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So that's the new cell therapy is about taking your own cell, engineer that, and put it back into your body to treat a disease.
This is
And
like
the
using
disease is
CRISPR,
cancer.
for example, to edit parts
So
of
the
it.
editing could be CRISPR or it could be through viruses. Yes.
So I would like to move back to the trends of genomics now, because the ultimate is Selunum, that you are trying to come up with some sort of a solution for therapy, not only cell therapy, but therapy for all aspects of the things that can go wrong with body through the genomic process, the data that you're getting. It's interesting to me. I was thinking that Silicon Valley was built on silicon, hardware, transistor, and then we moved to software, and then, you know, recently we are on web and mobile. But for the past 10, 15, 20 years, the concentration is coming back on human health and biomedical science. And you're a forerunner on that one. That combined with AI can give you, you know, a lot of power to do things that people were not able to do about 10, 15 years ago. But there are questions, like there are ethical questions, and there are, you know, first of all, should people get their genome sequenced? That's one question I wanted to ask, and I find you to answer that.
Yes.
If I find a way to, you know, a cheap way to sequence all my genes, should I do it?
I think you could, but you are not going to learn a lot.
I'm not going to learn a lot. Because?
And because the genome has not been very actionable. So, and that was one of the initiatives I had at Illumina to make it more actionable. So you're sequencing basically 3.2 billion bases or building blocks on your DNA. Yeah. And out of those 3.2 billion bases that we sequence, we don't have a lot of information about what base
does what?
Is doing what.
99% of it is common, and some of it is garbage that you've told.
I wouldn't say that is common. Everything is
human beings. They all
there
share the
is
same
similarities. Yes, but the actionability of genome is low because we haven't found the connection between the variant.
We don't know what does what.
Exactly.
Because some of them
So
are multiple
when
genes.
you look
acting.
at, you know, the actionability of genome has not moved that much actually in the past 10 years, honestly, because, you know, we have moved from 0.001% to 0.1%. So we know about 0.1% of the genome that what they are doing. And so in order to have a meaningful and tangible result for anyone to sequence their genome, so we need to bring the actionability to about 8%. And the reason that's 8%
now, you said?
Yes,
Wow.
0.1%.
Okay.
And the reason that's 8%, we modeled actually a lot of different ways on how many mutations each person would have that should care about. And so between the studies, you know, show that it's between 13 to 15%. 13 to 15 variations, sorry.
Variations. Different places where it changes.
So let's say one of the variation is BRCA gene, which is causing breast cancer.
Yes.
I'm not causing, but you know, people that they are carrying that
correlated.
gene, they are more susceptible to get breast cancer. And so if you would know that you are a carrier of the BRCA variant, then you need to do more frequent monitoring.
This is what the famous actress, who was it, who had a double box?
Angelina Jolie. So
Yes. And because he carried that
yes,
gene?
she carried that.
She
carried that mutation. Yes, and she wanted to not to be the victim of breast cancer, and she did double mastectomy. Yes, and so there are mutations like Lynch syndrome that actually people they would get colon cancer. So if you would have it, then you would do colonoscopy more often. You know, so these are the type of mutations, and each person has about 15 of these mutations that are unique to you. And if you would increase the actionability of the genome to about 8%, so each time, if you would sequence your genome, so you have at least one result to monitor, one problem that you need to monitor. It could be related to the drug, actually. So you see that there are a lot of the drugs, you know, in the market, and not the efficacy of those drugs, efficiency of those drugs are very different, you know, across different individuals. Yes. So those are the relationship that we have to make. That, okay, if you would carry this mutation, that means that you are a slow metabolizer of this drug. So, but you could be fast metabolizer of this drug. So those are the kind of guidance we need to give to individuals. And if I would tell you, okay, sequence your genome, the likelihood of you finding anything
is very low.
Yeah, it's very low.
You know,
so
as far
that's
as
why I wouldn't. Is a plus. I have done it myself 3 times. Yes,
You've done it
and I
3
actually
times.
it helped myself because I was fast metabolizer of simvastatin, which is statin drug. For lowering cholesterol.
Yes.
And so when I increased the dosage, so I felt that I am actually getting cramp when I play soccer. And so after sequencing my genome, so I found that actually I'm fast metabolizer of simvastatin, so I should go to rosuvastatin, which is
You change your
metabolized
drug.
much slower, and I
Yeah.
asked my doctor to cut the dosage by 4-fold.
So I should do that. I should do that too. Because
Yes, there is
you know,
not-
I'm a vegetarian and I have high cholesterol. I mean, how could it be? Because there is a gene in me acting.
No, definitely there is value, but
Yeah.
the likelihood of you finding the value may not be very
No,
high.
I understand that. No, but let's talk
But
about.
that's going to change. And
What's
actually,
about-
one of the reasons that I started Selanome is actually to make the genome more actionable as well.
Yes. So at some point you said 0.1% and it has to be 8%. It has to be 8%. So there is a mismatch, and wherever there is a mismatch, there is an opportunity. So there are people over here who are working on ideas, on concepts, and hopefully some of them are related to what you're talking about. How would you encourage people to get more into this area that you're an expert in? And what should people do to take advantage of this mismatch?
I think any technology that would do large-scale phenotyping, could be interesting. And that could be, let's say, using AI to find the correlation between the phenotypes, existing phenotypes.
What is phenotype?
It's basically the features that are being seen. Let's say, my phenotype is that I have a big nose. So that's a phenotype.
We share that.
Or
We have
if
the
I
same
could
gene.
be, a sprinter, if I can, that's a phenotype. So if you would have those kind of phenotypes, you can actually make correlation to, potentially make correlation to the variants of the genome.
But the question
So-
is, what should people do?
So if could be, for example, having access to medical record data, let's say, and making these kind of correlations to make the genome more actionable, yes, there is value in that. Myself, I'm interested in, biological unit of every single person, which is a cell. And cell is, carries a lot of information and phenotype.
Yes.
So if I would have those phenotypes, any change that happens in the genome, it would have impact in the phenotype of the cell.
Yes.
Some of the phenotypes are measurable and some of them they are not. So, but a lot of them they could be measured by
Yes.
actually phenotyping the cell.
Let me ask you something else. Drug discovery. How does genomics, gene sequencing, help drug discovery? Is it only in the realm of personalized medicine, or is it something more general that we can get out of it?
Definitely more general.
Okay.
Definitely more general. No, there has been a lot of discoveries of drug targets. They find that there is a variation at the genome level, in certain population that gives them more protection. So they would basically, pharma companies, they have taken, for example, these kind of concept in creating a better version of basically drugs for those.
The
for
generic
diseases.
drugs could change, what you're saying.
Yes, definitely.
So,
it
so
will
in the
change.
future, based on certain characteristics of genome or personalized information that I have from my genome, I could take a different kind of a painkiller or different kind of a
Yeah, there are two different things that we are talking. So
Okay.
one is actually drug target discovery.
yes.
So that could happen. Then you're talking about personalization of drugs. Yes, that could happen as well. Because as I mentioned, that I was actually taking, wrong statin. And that would cause cramp for me. And so cramp is a sign of toxicity.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, of course, you want to get rid of that toxicity.
And
so
how do you do that? How do you use genome information, genomic?
So I changed my drug. I went from simvastatin to rosuvastatin.
Okay.
But blood thinning, kind of drugs, they are probably one of the most famous ones that they have been discovered. Warfarin, has been a very good blood thinner, but some people, they are basically bleeding.
They resist
when
that essentially. Yes.
They are bleeding,
Let me ask you about this maybe social or philosophical dilemma. We are moving towards personalized, targeted treatments of certain disease. But ultimately, it's going to be expensive to provide those to every single person on Earth. So people who can pay will benefit from these advances in the science. What gives us the assurance that the society is spending all this money? Like the Genome Project was a societal. The U.S. government footed the bill. That the benefit will come and trickle down faster to everybody else, and not only to the rich people.
I think yes, there is a concern, but is not of a big concern because yes, the technology could be accessible, to people that they are richer. Yeah. Yes. But that's not a large market. So I think the large market is based to serve everyone. So that's why price reduction is going to happen. So there is elasticity in those markets. In another word, so you really want to reduce the price to serve larger populations and offer them, the most advanced solutions. Mm-hmm. The same is true with cell therapy today. So cell therapy is about, we are lucky that we live in US, so if it is approved, by FDA, and if it improves the survival rate, the insurance, they have to pay for it. But, the cell therapy for cancer, these are basically $1 million treatments.
How much?
$1 million treatment.
Mm-hmm.
If you would have insurance, of course, you can get it. But if you wouldn't have insurance, you wouldn't get it. But, this $1 million is not going to last long, of course.
So you mean it's going to be cheaper? Why?
Absolutely.
How?
Absolutely. Because cost of manufacturing is quite high today. So it has come down in the past 3 years. It has come down from $500,000 in production of cell for one patient to about $200,000. And there are further works that are in the being pursued now that would decrease the cost of manufacturing to about $1,000, $2,000 per patient.
Let me ask you my last question, and perhaps this is a repeat of a question I asked about 10 minutes ago. For the audience who are sitting over here, and they are interested to get into biotechnology, what areas do you think are open with opportunities for them? What would you suggest they would study or look into or do?
I think generally, the science, we always want to have higher resolution. So the higher resolution that we have been gaining in the past few decades is mostly through different type of imaging. Mm-hmm. Let's say you have MRI imaging, CT scan, we have ultrasound, so we have a lot of different imaging technology, even microscopy and so on. I really think that in the first 2 decades, majority of these technologies will be replaced by molecular technology for screening purposes.
So what do you suggest people do? They go into higher resolution imaging?
So molecular imaging is going to provide higher resolution, in my opinion.
Okay, so they go into molecular.
Yes. For example, I met an entrepreneur gentleman tonight. He's working on endometriosis. Endometriosis, can you detect that with imaging today? No. There is abdominal pain that you would have, and you have to go to doctor, and doctor will tell, oh, okay, maybe we should do laparoscopy. You would have endometriosis. These are signs of endometriosis. So they go in and find, endometriotic tissues and remove them. Mm-hmm. So that is very inefficient way of basically assessing and also getting rid of endometriosis. So of course, with molecular imaging, so molecular detection that you are going to have, so they are working on, they could have much higher sensitivity than you would, basically, a doctor would come up with, in terms of diagnosis. So these are the type of examples. Or cancer, for example, GRAIL test that we developed. So that is, of course, much higher resolution than any other imaging technology that you have out there. So you can detect the stage 1 cancer, stage 2 cancers, which are very small in the body. And if you would do full body MRI, so you cannot detect it.
Yes.
The CT scan, you might be able to see it, but the false positive rate is very high.
I tell you what, I try to represent these people and see what they would like to learn about the areas they want to go to. But at this point, I think I'm going to leave it to them to ask their own question and find out what is it that they want to know. So we have time for maybe 3 or 4 questions. And can we get a microphone to that lady over there? And if you please say your name and your affiliation and then state your question briefly.
Awesome. Hi, I'm Sophia Mirza. Salam Mustafa. I'm from UC Berkeley. And I had a question about how high manufacturing costs and challenges associated with these personalized cell therapies can affect regulatory hurdles and how to overcome them to ensure these therapies are safe and accessible to all in the future.
That's a very good question and very low.
See, they can ask better questions than I can.
I think one of the big challenges in cell therapy, of course, is lack of standard. So FDA has not defined what is the therapeutic standard to, have a general kind of guideline for cell therapy companies. So what they do, they actually look at each case differently, and it could be very different. So the level of purity that we need to have in the cells, with the technologies that we have today, they are not easy actually to identify. So we really need to understand the potency, purity of those cells. And there is no good guideline actually for these things. And that's why I really think that there are a lot of opportunities in that area to develop new technologies for defining the standard for the future treatments.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Other questions? Other questions? Raise your hands, please. Okay.
Mr. Ronari, I'm originally from San Diego, and your work with your colleagues at Illumina is legendary of what you did compared to what we used to do with sequencing machines back in the early days. So congratulations on all your work. I'm curious. My name is Mehran, and my company is focused on longevity, and we talk about a lot of the things that go wrong as you age, including genomic instability. I'm curious, without sharing as much as you can share, where you see the vision of cell therapy, and 10, 15, 20 years from now, what kind of impactful solutions are we going to have? And I'll give an example of that before you answer. One of the companies, as you might know, based in Stanford, it's not exactly what you're talking about, but they're talking about, for example, replacing mitochondria, the power packs of the cell, through bioreactors and things of that nature. So I'm curious about your vision of where some of these cell therapies are headed in about 10, 15 years.
Thank you.
I think we are in a very early stage of cell therapy. By the way, I'm not cell therapist, so I don't know that much about that field, but I'm not shy about expressing my opinions. So take it with a grain of salt. I really think that majority of the blood-based cancer will be cured actually in the next 5 to 7 years. And solid tissues are super challenging. So maybe it would take 2-3 times longer than that. But using the cell as a means of increasing longevity, I think that is super complex. Of course, there has been a lot of studies on loading mitochondria in the cells, so you can increase the longevity of that cells. Of course, if you can breathe, so if you can function, if you can metabolize, So you can probably live longer. I don't know, but I think, yes, there is some meat on that bone, but I really don't know if that's going to be a solution. Longevity is very complex, and I've been trying to stay away from that, as despite the fact that it's very exciting. I think, when it comes to longevity, I would go to the verticals of the longevity. Let's say immune aging, muscle aging. So those kind of things are going to be narrower, but still super complex. I wouldn't dare to go toward that area.
Question, Farzad?
Thank you. Great job in your presentation. My name is Farzad. I'm Vice President of AlphaWave. So question is, knowing that I'm a semiconductor guy, with advances of semiconductor technology to getting faster and faster with a lower power and lower cost, would that help you? Or
it has helped, of course. I think biology is actually one of the very unique area that would benefit from all the technological developments that happens actually in the field. So I can give you examples for ours, actually, how semiconductor field, computation, advances in physics, advances in chemistry, advances in graphic, GPUs, and I can go on and on and on, and how they are converging to make, advances in biology, the way we study biology. So as technology developer, you have to be on top of all these trends. I love to follow, for example, what's happening in micro LED now. So it's amazing opportunities that could happen, that could bring to biologies actually with those technologies. But you really need to understand, what you're solving. I really think that I have started actually companies based on technologies, but more recently I'm trying to identify the market and then start developing technology. So it's much easier actually to bring the technologies together to address, a market than develop a technology and look for market.
Maybe a couple of more questions. We have one over here.
Thank you, Dr. Raqib Mohsen from Stanford. So as you talked about the technology and some of the needs, I generally, as somebody basic in the genomics, I'm thinking about the privacy issue in genomics. And especially some people, given the opportunity has been always in the genome science, but some people, they has the hesitancy to, to sequence their genome, probably because of the, kind of fear of where is my data. What do you think, both from the technology side and from the need side?
That's a very good question. I really think that privacy is a major issue. So you can give me any piece of DNA, and I can probably locate the person. And what we were following actually when I was at Illumina, so we were looking at how to transfer the data without revealing, the privacy. And so my team would always tell me, any open API you have, that's the opening, for basically the data being stolen. And so we were actually very interested in homomorphic, encryption. But it hasn't panned out, the way that we wanted. But there are good progress in confidential, data transfer that's happening actually now that could be interesting. But still, that's not a problem that's solved. And anyone who can solve that, I think there is a possibility for a company.
Yeah. Last question. And after that, Dr. Ronaghi would be available for your one-on-ones or after talk.
Thank you for your really nice information that you gave. This question, maybe I don't know.
Can you please state your name first?
I'm Ali. I'm data scientist, and one question that I have is that nowadays, especially in past years, many companies start developing this high computational capacity for particularly these large language models that you're saying now. And one of the things that I read somewhere that is that when everything subsides on this LLM, companies will have a huge computational capability and nothing to do with them. So what do you think will be possible in your...
What do you mean with subsiding?
So, I mean, so basically this LLM, they're just developing and making it bigger and bigger and bigger. But then, and the prediction is that somebody come up with some technology to make it much smaller with the same capability. And
but that's a speculation.
Yeah, but let's say now we have this huge capacity, and what is it that is possible in your field that you can? It is possible to do then, which is not possible now.
Currently, in order for us, to process the data, we have to shrink the data to a very, very large degree, and of course, you would lose some information. If I would have, cheap, inexpensive kind of, capacity, I would actually not to compress that, that data to process. So look at all the imaging data, all the molecular data. So all these devices that we are building, sequencing, cells, and so on. So any of those companies, they would have the potential, if they are successful, within 3 to 4 years, they would generate more data than Facebook is generating per year. So we are not even in day one in data processing in biology.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the Amidi Group, Plug and Play, Persian Tech Network, and the Iranian community, I would like to thank you wholeheartedly for giving us the opportunity to learn more about...
Thank you, Saeed John, and thank you, Rahim and Saeed, for bringing everyone together. Thank you, everyone, for
coming. Mustafa John would be available afterwards. You can come and talk to him. And please use this time until 9 o'clock to network among yourselves. Talk to strangers. That's what we say all the time. Thank you.